5, 4, 3, 2.
All right, it's our Deadcast Top 5 this week. It's our Top 5 highlights for Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 3, Hunted. So what'd you think?
It wasn't my favorite episode. It wasn't my least favorite episode. There were bits that I liked and bits that I thought were a bit dumb. It was probably my least favorite of the three we've seen so far.
It's kind of like it was the best of times, worst of times, only less extreme. It was like,
Yeah. It felt just like...
Worst, it wasn't the best.
If I didn't know it was the last season...
Yeah.
I'd probably have been less hard on it, but I'm a bit like, oh, come on. I just want, I want stuff to...
I feel like that
I think
too.
I said that about some of the 10C episodes. I was like, okay, I kind of want to use our time together more usefully than this. So, that's kind of how I felt about this one. There were some bits that were great, some that were annoying, some that were confusing. Overall, not the worst, but not the best.
I mean, yeah, for me, the 10C episodes felt like a bonus. These are episodes that we wouldn't have normally gotten, and so they're using their limited scope to go into little areas that we otherwise just wouldn't have gotten. So I was a lot more patient. But now if an episode feels a bit tedious, I'm like, oh, can we kind of get past this? Like, I'm less patient. I thought it was fine. It was pretty good. It kind of felt like a really good episode of Fear the Walking Dead in some ways.
That's really interesting, actually. I think I know what you mean. Yeah.
It looked great, which Fear looks great. It had great action and thrills. The characters I felt were a little like sloppy in some places or questionable in what they were doing. And it did feel a little bit tedious. I'm sort of like, I kind of want to get past all this Reaper stuff and get to the Commonwealth.
And much like Fear the Walking Dead, it was not a good place to be a horse.
Right. Or The Walking Dead, really.
Or The Walking Dead. Yeah. But yeah, no, horses don't do too well in either show. Oh, it's a tough one for the horse lovers out there. So
yeah. That's true. This was a unique horse death this time, but not any easier to take. That's for sure.
I think we really need to talk about the fact that Carol seemed more upset by this death than any of the other people she's killed.
Well, at least there's that, because I think a lot of people in the audience probably felt the same way.
Oh, it was awful. It was really bad.
Karen and David,
Nah, Karen did. Nah, Lizzie, Horsey,
no,
not
the horse. Okay, what's your numero 5?
Numero 5 is I guess Alden. When I was doing my notes for this episode, I had the most notes about him. Obviously, he's a hot topic in our household.
Well, when Alden said, "I'm dead weight," we all know it. I totally pictured you and Peter just nodding your heads. Yep.
The highlight of, I feel like I should be live tweeting Peter's reactions to scenes with Alden in them. The highlight for this one was when Alden was like, "You want to know why I walked away from him?" Peter went, "No, you bloody didn't. You were stuck in a prison corral and you had no choice. Stop pretending like you did something cool." And I was like, so there's a lot of Alden
this is not true, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's inaccurate, actually.
He was in the prison corral, but he tried to diffuse the tension and stop the fighting. And then when he had a choice to go back to the Saviors, he chose to stay at Hilltop.
Yep. We are an Alden positive podcast.
I just have to... See, actually, I mean, I don't mean to interrupt your point, but I just do want to point out that I think it's really funny the way that, we've talked about how Peter and kind of you feel about Alden, but there's some listeners who are like, but Alden's a good guy. And I just want to point out, I also think he's a great guy. I love laughing along with all that, but I don't totally agree. I mean, maybe he can be a little like self-satisfied sometimes or self-righteous, but all in all, I think he's just been nothing but a pretty good guy.
My feelings about Alden are, if, you were in the zombie apocalypse, there are worse looking people that you could be stuck with by far. B, I do joke that he would have a vlogger Instagram channel. I didn't say I wouldn't watch it. C, I always liked him in the Savior arc as well. So I'm kind of quite pro Alden.
He was a great boyfriend for Enid and everything.
No. And he's a good dad to Adam, who's like the most cursed little kid in the world, I think, at the moment. But all that said, I don't know if things are looking good for Alden, but it's being signposted so much that he's going to die that I'm starting to wonder if it's a fake out.
Yeah, it could be. I feel like chances are he is, but I'm at like 60% he's dead. 40%, maybe not.
Same. If this was like season 7 or 8, I'd be like, yeah, he's definitely dead. He's definitely going to be hanging on that crucifix when they get back, because they are signposting that so heavily. But another part of me is like, is it too obvious? Like, I don't know. But I thought in this episode it was
more like 55-45.
Yeah, I mean, someone's going on a crucifix, and it's either him or Gabriel, I think. And I'm
oh, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like thinking it, but there was just so much in this episode where I was like,
he's a goner. I feel like now that you said that.
I know. Like, now that I've said it, I've just killed everyone's hopes. I just felt they were so over the top with it that I was like, the writing can't be this lazy, can it? But yeah, it can. It actually can. But I was thinking about it. So on the first round of watching this, I enjoyed just seeing Alden with Maggie, because they have a little bit of history, and there was talk, I remember when Alden first appeared, that he might take the role of comic Dante and be someone who would like hook up with Maggie, and people didn't like that, and that's
he's
fair.
a bit too young maybe, but maybe not.
Yeah, I think they're not, I mean, looking at them together, I'm like, yeah, you seem younger than her, and you know, whatever floats your boat. But
it's a zombie apocalypse.
I can see
not as many people around to judge.
Yeah. Not like, what was Abraham's killer line? I thought you were the last woman on earth. Turns out you're not, you know? Well, let's just leave that as it is. So yeah, Maggie and Alden, I thought that was great. But on the second watch, what I thought was really interesting was putting Alden with Maggie and Negan. And this is probably, I think, an argument really towards Alden dying, is because Alden has sort of lived both sides. Like, he's got an existing relationship with both of them. Like, he's lived under Negan, and he chose to go and live in Maggie's society in Hilltop. And he seems to be able to get through to her in quite a humane way in this episode. You know, he gets her to open up a little bit. She's clearly got a bit of banter with him about raising a kid, and she's clearly not ready for him to kind of reconcile to, you know, if I die, will you look after Adam? Or she just really doesn't want to look after Adam. She's either being very emotional, or she's just like, I've kind of got a lot on
Carol
with my...
could do it.
Carol, maybe Aaron, he's got a daughter, like, you know, so either emotional or just very avoidant. But what I liked about Alden in this episode was he is kind of the voice of reason, because at different points he agrees with Maggie and agrees with Negan. And he goes with what the logical / rational thing to do is. So he's kind of able to cut through that tension
very level-headed.
of the two of them. Yeah, he really is. I liked their little interaction about why Alden walked away from Maggie once I'd paused it and had an argument with Peter and then put it back on. And I think he does get through to her in that moment. I feel so bad for little Adam. That will be 3 guardians he has lost, including his whisperer mama. And I couldn't help but think when Maggie said, you better be there when we get back, that crucifix outside is going to be a part of that scene. So yeah, a bummer. I kind of don't want him to die, and I hope he won't, but as I'm talking, my balance is going way more
going over in one direction on a dial of probability.
The probability-ometer is like,
it's in the red.
It's in the red. He's gone. And they spoke a little about Hilltop, which I thought Jason will like that, because they're not glossing over the fact that Hilltop is gone and it's Negan's fault.
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because when Maggie said it's because of you that we lost everything, I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but I think it was Hilltop.
Yeah, I think Maggie in her head had really built up Hilltop as like a kind of utopia. Yeah, because she'd made it great before she left. But yeah, I think she's probably really bitter that she's not going to be able to share that with little Herschel, who seems to have lived through his own. Little Herschel with his spider snacks. Yeah. So
that's amazing.
I hope it's not R.I.P. Alden, but I'm skeptical.
I know.
After this episode.
I mean, I feel because the Reapers definitely seem to have some kind of a religious cult vibe going on. And so you mentioned that cross, and Maggie said, he said, you better be here when I get back. So I feel like 1 + 1 = 2 here. We will see.
1 + 1 = crucifix. Yeah. I hope not. I hope that the writers who clearly listen to all my ideas and implement them don't take that one on. But
no, I mean,
it's not looking good.
To be honest, I think that's a pretty great chilling thing to happen, even though I don't want him to die either because I like him. But for a horror show like this, I don't think it's too, I mean, it's a little bit, I didn't think about it until you brought it up. So it would have been a shock to me if that ends up happening. And I think it's actually pretty great in a horrific kind of way.
Well, there were some bits even in the mall when they've kind of got the scene where they fight and Alden gets badly injured and Negan saves Maggie. There's a clothes rack or something hanging in the background that's also kind of crucifix shaped, and I was just like, oh, are they signposting this a lot? And yeah, it's brutal. Hopefully won't happen, but who knows? I think we know.
Hopefully not. I mean, if it would have been Jesus there, then that would have been pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
He would have made it this far.
Another beautiful, beautiful man of Walking Dead history. Yeah. I mean, the other option is Gabriel, because I feel like Gabriel,
yeah,
I'm not holding out a lot of hope for him at the moment, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. I really want Gabriel to get his comic book death in one way or another, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see how that
Spoilers.
pans out.
All right. Well, I have a point on Alden, so I'll go into that.
Great.
Too. I think he's been a great character from the start. I really thought it was interesting the way he was introduced as a savior, a captured savior, and that guy, what was his name? Jared, the punchable face.
Oh, the dickhead.
Guy.
Yeah,
he was in there
face.
too, and Alden was like trying to calm him down. Come on, let's make this go easy. And he was the level-headed guy trying to diffuse the tension and make the try not to have as much violence and everything. And even with Rick, he was trying to convince Rick to take savior prisoners when possible rather than just kill everyone. And he has useful skills. He's a blacksmith. He's a singer. Maybe that's a bit much, but it's nice. And now he's raising, with Earl dead, thanks Negan. Alden is now raising that Adam, the little kid Adam. So I think he's just been, and the part where maybe he faltered, although I would say it's arguable, is he wasn't so nice to Gamma, or I forget if he was like rude to Lydia. I mean,
they got there in the end with Gamma.
Put his girlfriend's head on a pike, so
yeah,
that's where he lost his composure, and I think that's realistic.
I think so, and I think at the end, I'd forgotten that he, Gamma, and
Aaron?
God, who's the other person?
No, Kelly.
No, Kelly, that's right. They were on the run with the baby, and he does give in and let Gamma/Mary hold the baby, and it is kind of a sweet moment. And then she's brutally murdered because it's The Walking Dead. But yeah, I don't think he's ever done anything that outrageous, to be honest. I think he's always been a pretty chill guy, and he took on a little bit of Carl's story when he moved to Hilltop and started working with Earl, which was cool.
Yeah.
I really just wanted him and Earl to like platonically grow old together and raise this like badass little kid, but now I'm just like so bummed out that that's not happening. I'm just like, oh.
And he also realized something that I also realized, which is that Negan is someone he can't get behind, and he references leaving the saviors and everything. And so anyway, in this episode, he's hobbled, I guess, in the struggle with one of the Reapers in that wherever they were, a mall, or I guess it was a mall, right? I couldn't really tell for sure.
I think it was a mall, yeah.
His stomach is cut, and he encourages Maggie to leave him so she can go get food for the Alexandrias, which is very self-sacrificial. And he's like, "You left Gage," and she's like, yeah, but he
he sucked.
He sucked, and he like wanted to leave this scary place against my order, so fuck him.
He was just shit. You're great.
Okay. But anyway, it doesn't get much, more benevolent than just deciding, hey, I'll sacrifice myself. And then it was interesting how after he closed the door behind Maggie and Negan of the church, you can tell that he feels a lot worse than he's been letting on.
Like, you can see that slump. Yeah, definitely. I loved that the church was a bit reminiscent of the post-terminus church, where they're being hunted again by the termites. What's that? 4 walls and a roof?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that I'd like that as a callback. I doubt it's the same church, but it was a nice kind of memory of that past season.
I thought of the church, I think back in season 2 when they were looking for Sophia and Rick was...
Just before Carl gets shot.
Yeah, Rick was looking at Jesus and said, I don't think he's here anymore. I forget exactly what it was. But anyway, that's all I had for Alden.
Well, we shan't be taking big bets on whether or not he'll survive, but I hope he does. I do hope he does.
Yeah,
well, thinking about that, actually, that remembering the termites and the...
if he does get nailed to the cross, it doesn't necessarily mean he'll die. Or maybe he'll just come back in a few days. Oh.
I think Peter would leave the house. I think he'd just be like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Alden is risen.
Alden is risen.
Sorry,
I'll be like,
everyone.
praise Alden. And they'll be like, no, bye. So one of mine was the theme of hunting in this episode because, the episode's called Hunted. And I was thinking it's not quite just as simple as the Reapers pursuing the group that we're following. We have kind of 3 different instances of hunting in the episode. We've got the Reapers, which is the most obvious one, and they hunt with sort of violent pursuit, and they're looking for Maggie, and they're relentless, and they want to kill as many members of this group as possible. Whether they're very good at that is another question, because I
think they're all formerly circus members, and they
they trapeze in and out
knives.
of places, and the knife throwing it's gone up a real notch. Then we've also got Gabriel, who has a slow and steady pursuit of this Reaper who's at the end of his life, and asks him for or expects this sort of merciful Christian end that Gabriel denies him. So he pursues his prey and reaches a conclusion there. And then you also have, in a way, I hate to say it because it's something I'll mention later, but I think Carol is also hunting in this episode, but maybe not in such a malevolent way. There's a bit of slow and steady, there's a bit of reverse psychology with the horses and bringing them back and listening to them wanting to come home rather than actively pursuing them.
I think whether it's malevolent or not depends on whether you're a horse.
Yes. Well, that horse in particular, like the other horses seem pretty fine
so far.
And I thought that was interesting in terms of what Magna says to Kelly about if a horse trusts you, it'll let you touch his ear. And I was like, well, the first horse that's getting his ear touched is obviously going to be Dinner. So the idea of the kind of symbolism of the trust that is kind of between the women and the horses, and how that kind of goes a bit awry because obviously one of the horses does die, but it's for a good reason, I guess. I mean, it's not wonderful, but they are starving and they've tried to eat dog before, so not dog, but like I'm sure there was chat back in season 5 about a dog being eaten. So
I mean, I saw somebody had posted, why did Carol do that? And I'm like, because they're starving. I mean, the alternative is to starve to death or start eating each other. And I mean, I don't subscribe to eating horse, but we eat cow all the time, and they're just another big mammal,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's the thing. We're awfully hypocritical as people, aren't we? Because I'm like, oh, I would never eat cat. I would never eat dog. Oh my God. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll eat beef.
Right.
I'll eat
and
pigs.
then
like they're all,
in cultures where they do eat cat, it's considered barbaric. But I mean, in part, that's because it's just not what we're used to.
Yeah.
And if you got to know a cow, I've asked people, I went to a farm recently it's a special farm where they rescue animals that were either abused or on the chopping block. So they don't actually kill the animals at this farm. But anyway, I asked them if they got to know the cows, like if they felt like they had personalities and they were like pets like other animals. And they were like, absolutely. You get to know them just the same.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? It's one of those things where, I was a vegetarian for a really long time, and I still go back and forth on it. And I have to say, I didn't love seeing the horse get killed. I thought it was pretty rough. Yeah. But at the same time, I was like, when you're literally starving, like, what are you going to do?
Right.
Well, RJ didn't want to eat it. Well, whatever, RJ, you don't have to eat the horse then. But
you can just starve.
You can just starve to death then, RJ. So for me, that was my number 4, was thinking about the theme of hunting and pursuit and how it played out in this episode. And obviously, I was going to say Maggie's the scenes where Maggie was being hunted as she made her way into the mall were really cool.
Yes.
And I liked the kind of clever noise tricks that she did with the bottles, and obviously having the Reaper appear as the flare went up was pretty cool. So yeah, that was nice. It was tense.
Yeah, so I liked the whole horse whisper thing, and it was in the moment kind of a soothing contrast to the horrific things that were going on in the other storyline, with the women just going after the horse and putting their lassos down and
well,
kind of, and just sort of approaching softly and gently and making friends with a horse. It was nice. And then Carol does that, and I didn't see that coming, but after it happened and I thought about it, I realized, that was, even though she said we need to go get these horses because we can't pull anything larger than a sack of grain, and we also need them to go out and go further so we can scavenge. But I know in her mind she was thinking we're going to eat at least one of these, even though she didn't say it.
Yeah, it's like both can be true, isn't it? Because there is merit to what she's saying, but also, if you've got... I mean, if she'd only brought one horse home and they'd killed that horse, that would have been a really freaking stupid thing to do. But the fact that they have more than one, I'm sort of like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And I think Aaron appreciated that when he comes in and finds her. He's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Okay. My number 4 is the Reapers. And, we had questioned whether Maggie was maybe a Reaper. I think we didn't really think so, but we were, maybe, and I thought that would be interesting. But I think it's pretty clear that they're her enemies.
I think so.
I mean,
either she's playing like the longest game.
Yeah, I mean, they're attacking her, and she's afraid of them and trying to get away from them. And she attacks back and even kills probably at least 2 or 3 of them. Like they're throwing knives at her, and when she's going into this mall or whatever, there's a knife that goes right by her head, and that one that you mentioned by the stairwell with the skull mask, he's going to attack her, and she grabs him and throws him down the stairs. And then in the bigger like warehouse looking room with the escalator with the light coming down through it, one of the Reapers is trying to stab her through the head with a sickle, while the other one gets Alden, and she breaks that bottle and stabs him in the head and then throws a knife in the other one's back. I mean, if they're on the same side and she's just trying to put on a show, I think they'd be like, oh, wait a minute, I think you're going a little too far here. You just
dial it back.
Yeah. Well, that's a little too convincing. I mean, they did conveniently not hit her with any knives in the opening scene, and they all seem to disappear except for one, and she threw a sickle at it, hit I think a tree next to it, and then when he turned she was gone, so she had ran away. I just think that's the whole fodder effect, where the red shirts got the worst of it,
Oh, the red shirts. Yep.
So what is the deal with the Reapers? Well, I think we've gotten maybe hints of this before, but they really hit hard on the whole religious aspect of them. The one Reaper who you mentioned that Gabriel is chasing, saying, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. And then he says, I've been blessed because you came and you're a man of God. Will you pray for me? And then there's that, I think it was a burnt Zed strung up with a Judas sign above it. So
that was really freaking scary.
Yeah.
I found that very terrifying. It's fucked up when Negan's like, ugh.
I mean, I don't know exactly the story of Judas, but he's a bad guy, right? I know that much.
Yeah, he betrays Christ.
Okay. And so I think they see the zombies as evil, maybe, or satanic or something. I don't know.
Or that was someone who betrayed one of them.
Oh, right.
And they burned them alive. That's kind of... God, I went dark on this episode, Jason. I'm like, I think they burned him alive.
That makes total sense. Because, okay, so here's a theory, and it's not from me, it's from one of the listeners, Gary Hewitt. He sent in a comment saying, maybe the Reapers didn't attack Maggie's group, but she attacked the Reapers, and they're just out for revenge, which is interesting. Because
I wonder,
reaping brings to mind this phrase that comes up in the Bible a lot about reaping what you sow.
Yep.
Which basically means whatever you put out into the world, good or bad, it's going to come back to you. And so maybe that's an indication that Maggie is reaping what she sowed, and that, you know, she's talked about how dark she's gotten. And so maybe she actually did something to them and they're taking revenge. And when Gabriel says to that one, "You tried to kill my friends," he says, "Yes, and they tried to kill me." Maybe we thought that meant in this episode, but maybe he was meaning, you know, weeks ago or months ago or something like that.
Well, when she's saying like goodbye to Duncan, the big guy who dies, I'm sure she says something like, "I'm sorry for everything," or like there's something in it which makes me think they're referring to something that we don't know about, and that could just be like vague writing to try and give meaning to this relationship. But another part of me was like, maybe, she is kind of hell-bent on this, so maybe this is something. I kind of like that theory, and I do wonder. Yeah,
I mean, it's another, it's a different kind of a twist than her being a Reaper, but it would still make the story a little more interesting than them just being a repetitive, typical Walking Dead group.
Yeah, another generic baddie.
And I'm like, okay, whether or not that is true, well, I kind of hope it is, because it would make it more interesting, but I still feel like the point of the Reapers is to give Maggie and Negan a common enemy to deal with together.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really why we're seeing this right now before we get to the Commonwealth. I think that's why by the end of the episode, it's just the two of them together. And her mission isn't going that well, by the way. It started out with a bunch of people. But
I'm sorry, I'm with Negan on this one. This mission full on sucks. Like, it's really bad. Like, and I'm not enjoying it.
Maybe that's why, because a big question for me is, why does Elijah have a mask and a hood similar to the Reapers? And
yeah, is he in Alden? Has he defected?
Yeah, has he defected? Or maybe if Maggie did attack them first, maybe he took it from them or something. I forgot what they said his story was. I should have looked it up.
I think all we know is that he lost a sibling or lost someone close to him. I don't think we know much more than that.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm hoping there is something more interesting like that to their story, because otherwise it does seem pretty generic. But one, I guess you could say, benefit of it, if you like it, is forcing Maggie and Negan to work together against this common enemy.
I agree. I think that's definitely the narrative reason why they're there.
Okay, your turn. Number 3, I think.
My turn. I think I'm going to talk about Maggie and Negan. I wasn't going to, but I think it's still a talking point.
Yes.
I thought it was interesting that he's still trying with her. He's still trying to kind of, reinforce that he's not so bad or that something's there. But I thought there was a really cool or really interesting interaction where she kind of has this big rant about, you're reckless with somebody else's life. You don't get to decide who lives or dies anymore. It's your fault because you destroyed everything that we built. And he doesn't deny it, but he does say you still have to decide. And I kind of like that because it's sort of it's kind of a microcosm of what's happening here, which is that Maggie is still furious, and rightly so, but the world doesn't stop turning because of it. And she still has to make a decision, and she still has to either choose to get on with Negan or not get on with him, or move forward or not move back, or leave Alden or not leave Alden. And I just thought that kind of summed it up quite nicely. And yeah, that line, "you still have to decide," I thought was quite loaded with meaning. I thought it was interesting when she said, "Stop pretending you're one of us, Negan," because I think I read in a review, and I don't agree with this, but I did read in a review that like at this point, Negan is almost more one of them than Maggie, in the sense that he's actually been there for the last 6 years, whereas Maggie hasn't, and that must be a weird dynamic to come back into. I would disagree, because Maggie's history and the things that Negan has done, she's obviously a much more valuable member of that community. But it was, and
he's been in a cell most of that time too.
Yeah, he's been in a cell and teaching kids, the usual. The usual stuff, hanging out with Judith, talking to RJ, I assume. So yeah, I thought that was a nice interaction. I thought it summed it up nicely. But of course, at the end, we've got Maggie and Negan in a crowbar, and we all know what the crowbar looks like, and we all know what it reminds us of, and it's clear that this is just never going to go away. in the way that Negan would want it to. So it's about finding a way to still decide and still move forward with that. But I found it more interesting this episode, I think, when it was more prolonged and more like you can't keep up that level of angry shouting for as long as it needs to go somewhere. It needs to have a conversation about something, and I just thought that was a really interesting one. So that's my thoughts on Negan and Maggie.
Yeah, I really wish they had not done that thing that was the cliffhanger of this season's first episode where he left her.
Yeah, train gate. Yeah,
because it, like, to me, after something like that, it's ridiculous that Maggie would. I mean, she's not, to her credit, she's saying everything that you just said. You're not one of us. You ruined everything. But if it was me, I'd also be saying, and you basically tried to kill me last night.
Yeah, like, and remember 3 hours ago when I friggin' died because of you. Yeah. Cool.
So, I mean, she's not. It's a very particular kind of situation where they're being hunted, and she probably needs all the help she can get. And he did just pretty much save her life with that crowbar by not bashing in the Reaper that was, trying to bear down on her. And he also pulled her away when she was going to go in and try to save Agatha after Agatha had already been bitten by Greg Nicotero, by the way.
Yes.
And that was, so he's now back to being nice Negan, helpful Negan. But it was just a few hours ago that he did something that I would personally in my life find completely unforgivable for the rest of my life to eternity. So anyway, I mean, I guess maybe if I was Maggie right in this moment, I might be like, okay, he seems to be playing ball now and I need all the help I can get. So I'm going to have to just bear down and deal with it. Fine. Okay. I guess I can accept that as a watcher of the show, but I do feel like still there's a reckoning for Negan that has not happened yet. And I'm like, I hope it happens.
Yes. I think it has to. I think they couldn't leave us hanging like that.
And maybe he's going to really prove himself on this trip. But if I would love for the show to win me over and be like, hey, Negan has proved himself, but then they have to stop having him do things that are so bad that I personally would find them unforgivable for the rest of my life.
Yeah, it was a real bum note, wasn't it? Like, it really was just like, I mean, it's like he's done enough. Like we don't need more. Like it's not like we're like, oh, I'm just so on the fence. It's just like it's a real knife edge for me about whether he's done good things or not. Let's have him leave her under a train. It's like, no, we're clear on the stuff he does is often shit. Like we didn't need to reinforce that.
And Maggie's the type of person, I mean, she freaking left Gage to die because he turned away for a minute. And if you think back, when she had all those saviors captive when Alden and Jared were there, she just went in and shot one of them in the head.
Yes, I'd forgotten about that. Oh my goodness. Maggie's always been kind of... Yeah.
So now she's letting this guy who bashed her husband's head in and left her to die and destroyed this community of Hilltop basically, or helped the Whispers anyway, that she's so proud of. She's just like, that old Negan.
Oh, he's such a little card, isn't he? No.
You know how he is.
You know how he be. Oh, so cute. And I can picture us being married in another life. Oh, bless him.
Anyway. All right. My turn?
Yes.
Okay. So thrills, action, and violence. There was a lot of it. That opening scene I thought was pretty great. It was very chaotic.
Yeah.
To the point where you couldn't, it was hard to see what was happening, but I feel like that actually added to it because you're like the character, wait, there's knives flying around all over here. We better freaking just take cover. So they end up scattering, and it was pretty intense.
No, I agree. And shout out to the MVP of this episode, the fisheye lens, who appeared at lots of various points, but was particularly good in that opening scene.
Yeah. And it was the fodder effect. I mean, Cole, one of Maggie's people, gets
R.I.P. Cole, man.
His throat slit. Duncan gets hit with like 4 knives in the chest. And then Gabriel like gets his cheek cut or something.
Gabriel gets essentially a shaving nick, and he's like, oh.
And then Negan gets hit in the leg, and then Maggie gets like pulled by a whip or something, and Elijah's trying to cut. Oh no, Elijah, we don't know you. Get away from there. And then he presumably dies. I think we just heard sounds, but it sounded like he died. right?
I don't know, I think he might be coming back.
Okay.
But I do think that in the mall, when you were talking about Maggie, the Reaper trying to kill her with a scythe, I think, or not a scythe, what did you call it?
I called it a sickle, but I'm not sure exactly.
A sickle? No, you're right. Sorry, yes, sickles are smaller. I think that was Elijah's. I'm not sure though.
Maybe so.
I don't know.
And then
maybe Elijah's a Reaper. Sorry, Enid's a spy. Elijah's a Reaper.
Then Agatha gets eaten by Greg Nicotero, and then
what a bummer, man, to get that far in the apocalypse. I'd be raging. I'd be so annoyed if I'd survived 12 years and then got freaking bitten in the woods. I'd be like, come on.
Yeah. If I was the actor in that situation, I'd be like, can I just do one take where I improv? And then I'd be like, God damn it. Seriously?
You're kidding.
Come on. So, and then I am glad there was a moment between Maggie and Duncan, because I kind of don't like how on these shows like Lost, it always bothered me when all these log carrying people who had been in the background for several seasons, they just got, this is a huge spoiler by the way, but they just got shot with a bunch of flaming arrows, and people were like, oh, well, we don't know them. And I'm like, well, they're human beings. So I just like that they pay a little tribute to the fact that Maggie and Duncan have this relationship and they have this moment between them, just to kind of, because if we'd gotten to know Duncan the way we'd gotten to know these other characters, that would have been a really hard scene for us.
Also, there's two ways of reading it. One is, this is inconsistent because Maggie was all like, I don't care, I don't feel anything anymore. But then there's another reading, which is Maggie doesn't care anymore, but she does care about the people that she cares about, and they mean a lot to her, and it's hard for her when they die.
I think that's how she's playing it anyway, Lauren Cohan.
I think so. Yeah.
And he seems interesting to me, even just a little bit that we've gotten of him. He's the one of all those characters that I would have liked to have seen more of.
Yes, and he was very sweet with Herschel, which really endeared me to him.
Yeah. He had this nice deep voice and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I liked when she went up the stairs with her flashlight, and I was sort of like, there was this escalator right in the middle of this room, but instead you go to the creepy dark stairway. But it was really tense, and I kind of love when they do these like stealthy Zeds that just suddenly appear and even though it doesn't totally make sense, it made me jump. And then she turns on her like flare and sees the guy in the skull mask behind her, that and then when she threw him down and she's like waiting kind of in shock, and then you hear footsteps, boom boom boom, and heavy breathing, that kind of raised my pulse.
Creepy.
Yeah. I'm not sure what happened with that, because then I think it went to commercial, but
it was very tense, and watching that flashlight and that Zed fall down, I was just like, nah.
And I liked that they're walking in the forest, kind of limping along, and there's some Zeds in the background growling, but they kind of ignore them. But then they realize, wait, there's a lot now. That just seems like something that would happen this far into the zombie. You kind of get used to ignoring them, and then, wait, it's getting a little bit much here. Yeah,
that point where you're like, at what point is this a problem? And what point is this manageable? And we've seen in all the shows, I think, this point of like, that tipping point can come quite suddenly. And suddenly you're overwhelmed. And I've often wondered, I'm like, is this a skill obviously it's very driven by plot and what needs to happen, but is this a skill you develop as you go? Like, this is doable. Yeah. This is not doable. It's an interesting one to think about.
Feel it out. And then last, I liked when Alden tried to stab one and he missed the brain and it went like in his jaw and rattled around in his teeth. Because I always feel like that would probably happen more, but maybe they just gotten so good at it that they're good at getting the brain, and he was really hobbled, so he wasn't on his game. But anyway, that was just a cool little moment.
I spend a lot of my time when I'm watching this show, like, touching that bit on the side of my head where, like, your skull isn't quite there, and I'm like, be quite hard to aim for that. Like, I think about this a lot.
I know. So yeah, that was one of the high points of the episode, was just all the action. I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if I have any notes on the action. I think, R.I.P. Maggie's gang. Duncan, that was sad when he did. Were Agatha and Duncan a couple? I feel like they hinted at that maybe a little bit. I And yeah, so for Maggie's gang, we've got Elijah missing in action, and there's one other dude whose name I've forgotten who's not accounted
Frost,
for.
I think.
Or
is
Frost,
he already dead?
That's
no,
it.
He's not accounted for?
He's not. We haven't seen him die.
Okay.
We saw Cole die, so yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
Mm-hmm.
For my number 2, I would like to talk just a little bit about the Walking Dead kids. They were very cute in this episode. I love how smart those kids are. I'm always constantly surprised by the ability of kids at that age to kind of say insightful things and make us think. I got to hang out last week with a kid that I used to babysit for who's now 10, and I'm always just blown away by like how smart she is and like the insightful and crazy witty stuff that she says. You must get this all the time with your kids. Like they say things and you're like, oh.
It's kind of funny you say that, because I think you're probably referring to with the conversation between Herschel and Judith talking about how grown-ups always go off and say, I promise I'll see you soon. Yeah. And she says, to make us feel better, and he goes, oh, they say that to make themselves feel better, right? And my thought was, that seems a little too grown up for a kid that age, which maybe says something about my own kids.
Yeah. I just babysat for a really smart kid, okay? Well, I thought they were cute. I liked the difference between having been brought up on the road versus being brought up in these communities. I think the kid actor they've got playing Herschel is very cute.
Very good.
We had a discussion when we'd finished arguing about Alden. We had a discussion about, are these kids basically vegetarian? Because it seemed to me strange that they would be this averse to eating horse. Like, I'm like, wouldn't you have eaten weirder stuff?
I think Geralt's done a lot of hunting.
Okay. Oh, yeah. They used to get like deer and stuff, didn't they? Right. Okay. So they're not vegetarian. They are just icked out by the fact of eating a horse. Okay. Yeah. I mean, fair. I wouldn't refuse food personally, but yeah.
I mean, if they don't usually eat horse and their experience with horses are riding horses and adoring horses, then I could see them being just like anyone around here who would just be like, oh, I don't want to do that.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, we had a bit of a debate about what the diet you would have if you lived in Alexandria would be. And yeah, I was like, I mean, I guess meat would probably still be not every day, but yeah, they're not like, oh my god, gross, it's meat. They're like, oh my god, gross, it's horse, which is fair.
At least Carol didn't go looking for that rat again.
Oh my god. Eat your rat, RJ. No. RJ, he is quite cute, that kid actor. Yeah. I feel mean that I'm always so mean about his little voice, but he's really sweet. And yeah, I just like the kind of insight into Herschel's life of, you know, it's not as bad as the spiders, or it's not like the spiders. And I was like, oh god.
When he said that, I felt like he had a little bit of a smile on his face, like he was enjoying picking at them a little bit. And it reminded me of when I was in Beijing at it's called the night market, where they sell a lot of foods that are really strange. Like I had a scorpion on a stick, and then it was fine. It was just like a fried thing. But then I had some snake, and it was kind of gross and spongy. But they would you'd see guys like holding up a plate and being like, sheep testicles, and they'd have a big smile on their face.
Oh man, it's also the kind of thing, like that sort of cheeky kind of thing is the kind of thing you could see Glenn doing. Like, I don't know, when he was in his kind of playful younger Glenn days, I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
A little bit like his dad. So yeah, the kids were sweet. It was nice to have a scene with them and kind of get a sense of what their lives are like. And yeah, they were cute little kid actors. So nice scene in an otherwise quite tense episode.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good. They're I mean, mostly it was, I guess, Judith and Herschel conversing, and they need to get someone who's a good little actor to go up against her, because Kaylee Fleming's amazing. Mm-hmm. I like that scene a lot. It was fun to see them playing cards. I think they're playing Slapjack, which is a game I used to play as a kid. Ah,
cool.
And we wonder often, so wait, where's all the kids? And now we get to see them hanging out. I don't know who's watching them. Is it Lord of the Flies or?
I think it's just Lord. I think it's every kid for himself now, isn't it? Like,
but then I got to thinking, man, you know, these are the kids of some of the biggest characters on the show. Who'd have thought early on that we'd see them hanging out. We've got Herschel, who's Maggie and Glenn's, RJ, who's Michonne and Rick's son, Judith, who's, well,
God
I thought
knows who's.
Rick and Lori, but actually it's Shane and Lori.
Yeah.
But for all intents and purposes, Michonne's, except not now. Now she's kind of Daryl's.
Mm-hmm.
And then Gracie, who we haven't seen a whole lot of her, but she's the one that Aaron kind of adopted when the savior, I think he killed, did he? No, I think Rick killed a savior.
No, Rick killed the savior and then brought home a baby for Aaron. It was a bit of a weird move, but here we are. Hey, Aaron, I brought you something. A number plate? No, a child. All right, great. Yep.
I thought it was interesting that, this is one of my points too, by the way, that they brought up that, you know, parents come back, and Judith says, my mom always comes back. And so I'm like, okay, they're not ignoring that it would be on these kids' mind, but I feel like, well, at least I'm hoping that they're bringing this up because they have a solid plan in place for Michonne and Rick too, I hope.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
I really, really hope so. It just wouldn't be right to have it end with RJ and Judith not being reunited with their parents. I just think it would be not right.
If they're still alive, yeah.
Oh, come on. That was a low blow to the feelings.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, if they're...
No, true.
I assume they will be alive, and so, yeah, they should reunite with their kids. And then last is...
Oh, I thought you were talking about if the kids are still alive.
No, I meant the parents.
I was like,
sorry.
Jeez, Jason.
I didn't even let myself go there.
No.
And then even Rosita's baby was super cute, Coco, which
Coco
made me
is
think of
really
Sadiq.
cute. Oh, Coco's adorable. I really like her. I was also thinking who's looking after Coco at this point because
Yeah.
But then there were also a few people in in Alexandria where I just wrote in my notes like, who's that? Who are those randoms? Never seen them before. I guess they just live here.
I mean, this one character Scott, who's who's Kendrick Green, Sonequa Martin Green's husband. He's been a character on the show for a long time and has barely gotten anything to do. But when he does speak, I get the sense that he's a fine actor. And so I wish they would give him more to do. He could be the babysitter. I don't know.
I keep thinking he's dead. And then I'm like, oh no, great.
There he is.
He's not. He's alive. There he is.
So anyway, that's it for my number 2.
Cute. Okay. I'm torn between two things for my number 1, but I think I'm going to go with the one that I've got the most notes on. Carol's choices in this episode. They just make sense. I don't know. Everything about it made sense to me. I think with Carol, a lot of the time there's a lot of flip-flopping back and forth. You know, we don't get why she does the things she does or the way that she does them.
She takes some figuring out sometimes.
Yeah, she takes some figuring out. After the episode, Angela Kang says Carol sees things that other people don't always see the same way or aren't capable of seeing in that way. And I think this is kind of an example of that because, you know, there's tension between her and Aaron that she hasn't helped out with the wall and she's off on her own mission. And I like the reference back to season 5. Daryl and I went down that road before because that was a big character moment for Daryl, was kind of settling into Alexandria, being led by Aaron and kind of working with him to try and get this kind of wild horse to kind of try and lasso it and take it